Heya! This is Pokeball35, and miraculously, welcome back to Deltarune. So, I was not planning on making this video, but as of a couple hours ago, a brand new update has happened to Deltarune to fix some bugs and make some changes. Some quick backstory, as quick as I can make it sound. Over a month ago, Chapters 3 and 4 to Deltarune came out. I played them, I loved them. However, I had a lot of particular gripes with Deltarune Chapter 3. Once it had been a little over a month since Chapter 3 and 4 had come out, I recently uploaded a 3-hour-long rant/discussion of everything about Deltarune Chapter 3. Everything that I like about the chapter, everything I do not like about the chapter. And one of the things that I did not like about this chapter, I will briefly summarize, is the Roaring Knight. The concept of the Roaring Knight showing up at the end of Deltarune Chapter 3 is amazing. I think it's really cool that the main antagonist, or at least one of the main antagonists, comes out of absolutely nowhere and absolutely wrecks the party. I think that's really cool. However, Toby Fox should know his audience. I'm gonna move my chair, it's hitting my PC. Toby Fox should know his audience on how they want to scour every little thing for every little secret. And it turns out that the secret boss of Deltarune Chapter 3 was actually still the Roaring Knight, because the Roaring Knight is actually possible to beat and not impossible to beat. However, you go through all of these hoops and things to get the Shadow Mantle, which I had to do an entire second playthrough to get, because I did not get S rank on my first playthrough, because I was told that it's okay to not care about your rank, but then you're introduced to the concept of S rank after you've already done the first board, so you have to either restart the game or just roll with the punches, and I rolled with the punches, and then I had to replay the entire game, and it took like 3 hours to get back to where I was, and then I spent 5.5 hours fighting the Roaring Knight. So there's been an update to Deltarune Chapter 3, being that the Roaring Knight has now been patched, particularly that the oh-so-terrible Sword Tunnel attack is now fixed. According to the patch notes, it says, swords used in a certain boss's Sword Tunnel attack have now have a reduced hitbox relative to the graphic, making the attack easier to dodge. That was one of my least favorite attacks in the entire fight, and I would genuinely like to give this a 157,000th chance. I will go back here, and I will refight the Roaring Knight. I will play on keyboard. If you watched and listened to my very long ramble about Chapter 3, there are still many things that I do not like about Chapter 3, but if the Roaring Knight is ever so slightly easier so that a casual audience can actually play the video game, that would be wonderful. So, that is what we are going to do here. As we're going to go this way. Ah, would you look at that? Oh, it's Toriel at the top of the Christmas tree. Now the whole family's getting back together again. Oh, would you look at that? It's absolutely wonderful. I totally will not die right now. So, let's give this another shot. And it has been over a month. It's been about 5 weeks, 6 weeks since I first fought the Roaring Knight. And as of exactly a month ago to the day that I'm recording this, which is like 17 minutes before the 23rd of July, it has been 1 month since I uploaded my Weird Route playthrough of Chapter 3 and Chapter 3 and 4. And I attempted the Roaring Knight for 20 minutes during that, and I gave up. So it has been about 5 to 6 weeks since I have beaten this fight, and this fight took me 5.5 hours. So I will see if any of my muscle memory is retained. And I genuinely want to give this another go. But again, if you watched and listened to my my ramble, it's hard for me to play incredibly difficult boss fights in this game with keyboard, this being the hardest boss fight in the entire game. and once I switched to a controller, 5.5 hours into my attempts, I won in 2 attempts with the controller. So, genuinely, let's fucking go, I guess, you know? So what the fuck do I do? Also, just saying, the fountain, it's right there. You see the fountain, correct? I do not have access to Dual Buster, or Red Buster and Dual Heal in this fight when it's very apparent that it should be here. I forget what I'm supposed to do. I think I just mash fight at the beginning here. I also don't use Hold Breath because I don't like the faster soul movement. It messes with all my muscle memory, and I hate it. So I don't use it during the fight. Okay. That's right, and then Rude Buster. Mash Rude Buster. Gotta remember how to play the fight. Got the flashbacks are happening. This is fine. Attack. Okay, no. I found out that Chris does the least amount of damage out of anybody, unless Chris is the only character alive. So if they're the last one standing, they do more damage. So it's actually more worthwhile to have Chris just heal themselves. Which actually I'll defend, Rude Buster, and then Healed Prayer on Chris instead. That's fine. Alright, so here it fucking comes. Here's the tunnel. That seemed better to me. Did it without taking a single hit. Keep mashing attack. This attack is typically the freest one the knight has. I'll still take damage though. Rude Buster, Rouse TV dinner on yourself, I think, is the plan. Have I ever seen this line of dialogue before? You actually messed up picking a fight with us? I don't think I've ever seen Susie say that before. Alright, bye, Susie. Sure do love the fact that there's an attack that is just a, do you have a revivement on hand? Yes or no? Fuck you if you don't. Rouse will use the revive mint. Alright, here's the second one. Here's the second tunnel. Oh my god, the fight is fucking playable? The fight is playable? I can't believe it! I can't believe it! We're about to get to the skill check, though. This is the skill check attack, if I remember correctly. The sword's spinning, and then the sword's coming at you, and if you can't dodge them, go fuck yourself. Yeah, it's the attack that is bullshit still. That attack is still bullshit as all hell. But, like, the things that I was screaming at, most of all during the fight, is, it works. So I'm glad that it works. At that point, I should just defend with everybody, because that attack is just... I don't care if the sword tunnels are fixed. That attack is still just fucked up. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. Okay? It's fucked up. So let's go again. Disagree there, I was definitely moving. Disagree there, I was definitely moving, but if you say that I'm not moving, I guess I'm not moving. I mean, this literally does not matter. Use the light candy. Rude Buster, or else he doesn't have enough for heal prayer unless Chris does this, so never mind. Rude Buster, then heal prayer on Susie. I don't know if it's just me, but it feels like this attack is a little bit slower, but that's probably not the case. I just remember it being faster. And again, just use TV dinner. I knew this attack was fucked up before. I knew there was something wrong with it. And I feel so validated knowing that there was something wrong with it the whole damn time. That one's on me. I just walked into that. Okay, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing and why, because that should not have happened. Revive Dust, please. I'm typically not taking damage during that one. Let's see, Chris. Actually, can you use Rude Buster if I do that? Yes, you can. Do I not have another heal all? I don't think I do. Ralsa needs the light candy. This is not a legit playthrough of this chapter anymore, so I don't care what items I use on who. Except I do care when Susie randomly goes down, even though I was not there anymore. Okay, it's doing the thing again. It's doing the thing again where I'm absolutely going through it, and it's not working. So we're gonna do that one more time. Oh, that would have killed. That would have hit me in pre-patch. That would have hit me in pre-patch. Oh my god, it's wonderful. But this attack still isn't. Fuck that move. No one died, but still fuck that move. That move is awful. I hate it. Deluxe dinner on Susie. Rude Buster. I don't think I can afford a Rude Buster. I need everyone up. Deluxe dinner Susie. Deluxe dinner Chris. Heal prayer Ralse. Make sure everyone's HP is up. That one also sucked. I hated that. That one was mostly on me, though. So now they home in on you now. I typically go, like, up here and then circle around. I walked into that one. I didn't need to walk into that one. Here's the fucked up attack. That killed Susie? Yeah, okay. That killed Ralse? Yeah, okay. I agree. I think this attack is slower. This attack was not this slow before. That attack is so much slower now. Did you do this attack a third time? I don't remember you doing this attack a third time unless it's been that long. Alright, bye Susie. Didn't need you anyway. Gotta hope that this is an easy attack because I have to revive Dust. That's right, you do this attack 3 times. I know that you do this one 3 times. That would have fucking killed the entire party pre-patch. That would have killed everybody. I don't got much left, so Light Candy, Chris, Rude Buster, Heal Prayer on Susie. This is the Sans attack, right? This is the Sans attack? That shouldn't be hitting me. That's rude. Revivement, Ralsei. T Deluxe Dinner, Susie. I gotta do it. Okay. I think we do this one more time and then it's the end. I forgot that hits you. Okay, well I might just fucking die because this attack also is ass. Just Susie, that's all I've got, so... Yeah. Defend. Yeah, stop circling there. If this was the fight we had on launch, I do not think I would have ever made the 3-hour-long rant video I made. Because this was a boss fight. This was a boss fight. Congratulations on fixing your game, Toby. Holy shit. Swoon. Also, are you a fan of Chris Slash Theory? I think I might be a believer in Chris Slash Theory. If you haven't heard it yet, it is the theory that the knight is not the person who slashes Susie and Ralsei here. It is actually Chris, because the slash comes from their side of the screen and not the knight's side of the screen. And when I first saw this line after my very, very long attempts at this fight originally, I thought it was Ralsei saying, like, Susie, how could you let your guard down like that? Or something along those lines. He doesn't get to finish his sentence. But he says Susie in terms of, like, being worried for her. But it looks like Ralsei is also looking directly at Chris and being like, how could you do that to her? And then they slash Ralsei too. And Ralsei, the theory goes that Ralsei never brings it up again because they know the soul is important to the mission and the prophecy and all that, so they just try and make sure Chris is still comfortable and happy or whatever, because they know they're going through shit with the soul. Like, Ralsei's known about the soul since the very beginning. If you played the tutorial, Ralsei says that is your soul, the very culmination of your being. You know? But god fucking damn. I'm waiting to get control of Chris again, but there's too many cutscenes. Anyway, bye, Undyne. It'll be relevant someday. Can I do this from here? Oh, I can't open my inventory. Can I just do this? I can literally just click return to title. Fuck you. So, that is why I made this video. I've been recording for 20 minutes. That took 3 attempts. that took 3 whole attempts to do. Genuinely, I had, like, everything I said in my original video, my original 3-hour-long rant, half of that video is just talking about how awful the Roaring Night fight was, and how it is my least favorite boss fight I've ever played in any video game ever, and I genuinely meant that. Just that one simple change of making that attack actually function properly changes the entire scope of the Roaring Night fight. I'm looking over to the side like I'm streaming. I'm not streaming, but this is where my camera is. I'm not live right now. I don't have a chat to look at. Yeah, the spinning swords thing, that is a really annoying attack that I don't like. And it's just, you have to react fast enough to make sure you dodge the swords. But the PK Starstorm attack was always the easiest one to dodge. The slashing the battle box in half, that took some getting used to originally, but I eventually got the hang of it. And I'm trying to think of the other moves. What are the other moves? There was like one more move in that fight. The slashing and like the spinning around stuff with the Sans attack and stuff. That one was also like genuinely easier to dodge than most other things. But it's like 5 or 6 moves in that fight are the sword tunnels, and that is just a fucked up move. That was such a fucked up move that no matter what I did, I was just taking non-stop damage, and I was sitting in between the lines of all the attacks. And near the end of the fight, I was just screaming of just like, there is nowhere to go. There's absolutely 0 safe zones when it clearly shows there are, but it does not matter. You stay in the safe zone, it does damage. Genuinely, I'm saying it. When I said it during the fight, some of the areas where I was hiding with the swords coming down at the end of the sword tunnel, if this was pre-patch, I would have taken so much damage and everyone would have died so many more times. Like, the amount of time it took me to do this, I couldn't even get halfway through the fight when I was doing the weird route, because I said I'm gonna give it a shot just in case. But if I can't, I'm just not gonna, because you can literally just get the Shadow Crystal from the hole in the wall in Castletown if you've already fought the fight before, which I had. So, everything just works out. That is genuinely a hard boss fight that seems doable and is doable. The previous fight, it's fucked up. Fucked up fight, hated it. This one, good. I still have my own personal gripes with Deltarune Chapter 3 of how it is structured and how the things are. I still don't like the fact that the Shadow Mantle was like this thing hinted at by Sham, and it's like, oh, you need the Shadow Mantle, otherwise you will fucking die, but you can do the entire fight without it. And so it's like, what's the point of hyping up this item of like, oh, this mysterious Shadow Mantle, I have to look out for it in Chapter 3, because if I don't have the Shadow Mantle, I'm not going to be able to beat whatever this fight is coming up. But you can do the entire thing and it doesn't do anything. A change I really hope gets made, because I didn't see any notes of it in the chapter notes, is that if you do not have the Shadow Mantle, the game does not prompt you with anything. If you die in the night fight, it just continues on like normal. But if you have the Shadow Mantle, what it should do is if you die, come up with the text of Gaster saying to continue. Because I talk about it in my other video, I watched Shay's playthrough. They got the Shadow Mantle on their first playthrough. They had the Shadow Mantle equipped on their first playthrough. They died within the first couple of attacks on the Roaring Night, and then the chapter just ended. Why wouldn't it give you the option to fight, go back and fight if you have the thing that you need to fight the night? It's literally punishing you for doing the thing it wants you to do. So you have to go all the way back if you don't have it. And I didn't have the Shadow Mantle. I was under the impression that the Shadow Mantle was needed for the Roaring Night fight. But genuinely, if I knew if the Shadow Mantle wasn't needed for the Roaring Night fight, I probably would not have gone back to do another playthrough to get the S-Rank room. One more thing I would like to check is in Chapter 4. There was one small change made in Chapter 4 that I would like to take a quick look at. It is really nothing important. But if we go back to this save file, We go here, back to the grand door, and we take the warp back to Castletown here to be able to play the mic, or not even just the mic minigames, but just the minigames in general. What I saw was, when I played this originally, was... I even commented on it. If you go and play the rhythm game... I've also never played Knock You Down, so I'll play Knock You Down. Rouse and Susie show up here to play, but now apparently they don't. So I'm kind of curious what it's like, what happens. Oh, they literally just don't show up. And I guess I'm not pressing both keys there. I'll take it. That's completely fine by me. So I'll just stand, like, here or something. I'll stand so you can look at Pluie. Everyone loves Pluie. Look at Pluie. So... Nope, immediately forgot what I was going to say. The other thing I was going to say, though, is that I actually want to be in the cafe. One of the points I wanted to make about Chapter 3 that I forgot was... I'm not a fan of the darkness of Chapter 3. Like, I love Shadow Guy. It's the only one we ever saw pre this chapter. But Shadow Guy was really cool and creative because you can do a lot of cool things with shadow puppets and things. I think Shudda is supposed to be like a film reel of some kind, but I genuinely don't know why there's a camera enemy in Chapter 3. Is it because there's photos of Chris and Asriel on the refrigerator? Because nothing else has anything to do with pictures, like, at all, in the Dreamer household. Like, the pictures on the fridge, I guess that's why Shudda exists. I think all the Shadow Guys are based on the figurines you see in the windowsills of the house. Zapper, I genuinely had no idea what this was supposed to be until I looked it up. Apparently it's supposed to be a TV remote, but, like, why do they have, like, a bajillion TV remotes in the house? Because there's the one to turn on the TV, but then there's also, the one that used to be Caddy's that Chris stole, which is the one that turns to stone, but, like, why are there so many TV remote enemies? The water cooler? Is it because there's water from the sink? Like, they don't have a water cooler in the house, so why is there a water cooler? Like, I guess it kind of makes sense in Chapter 4 with the holy water cooler bit, because of the missiles, and, like, it's holy water and stuff, because that makes sense related to the church, but genuinely, why is the water cooler there? Don't even get me started on Ribic. What the fuck is Ribic supposed to be? Can anyone leave a comment down below as to what Ribic is supposed to be? Because Rabic makes sense. Rabic makes sense because it's a dust bunny, and the unused classroom was dusty, and even in Chapter 4, there is a possibility for Rabics to show up when fighting Ribics. But what the fuck is a Ribic? Is it just another dust bunny, but it's a frog? Why is it a frog? The only reason I can think of it being a frog is because it's a reference to being in the Dreamer household, and Toriel lives there, and Toriel used to live in the ruins of Undertale, and there were Froggets there, but Frogget is a normal-ass person in the light world. So, like, what the fuck is a Ribic? It just says, a real dust frog, known to play dirty but loves to play dirty. It's just another dust enemy, but it's a frog for some fucking reason. I don't know. Pippins are fine, but they were also in Chapter 1, but not an actual enemy. They were an unused enemy in Chapter 1, but this makes sense. It's a dice enemy. That makes sense. Elnina and Lanino, I have mixed feelings on. I typically love stories and couples and things. Literally, one of my top 5 favorite games of all time is Super Paper Mario. And it's right there. I keep it close to me all the time. Elnina and Lanino, they're fine. They do the job that they're supposed to do. But, like, I'm not going out of my way to look at, like, cool ship art of these two together or anything like that, like I would do for spoilers for Super Paper Mario, Count Bleck, and Tippy, or anything like that. Like, they're just fine. Like, I've seen some good art of Elnina because I like looking at art of girls. Like, who doesn't? But, like, Lenino, I'm kind of indifferent on his design. Not my thing. But they're fine. They're genuinely just fine. And I was originally having a complaint in Chapter 4 of, like, the lack of enemies in, Chapter 4. But then the chapter just kept going and adding even more Darkners into the mix, and I really like the Darkner selection of Chapter 4 quite a bit, but just, like, why is Shudda here? Zapper, I guess, kind of makes sense. The water cooler, I guess, is just a joke, because, like, why? Like, I can't even think of why. I can't even think of why. Like, I just can't. There's a sink in the kitchen. There's a sink in the bathroom. It could be related to that, and maybe it's something hidden in Toriel's room that we never get to see. Maybe she has a water cooler in her bedroom that we never get to see, because we've never been in her bedroom before, so, like, I don't know. But genuinely, what the fuck is a Ribic? I don't like this Darkner. It's my least favorite Darkner in the entire game. Because it just does not make sense to me as to why it's here. Like, everything else makes sense. Like, all of this stuff is, like, playing cards and things, and, like, toys and games, and, like, Rapic is fine because it's a dust bunny, and that makes sense. Chapter 2 has, you know, all, like, pop-up ads, and tasks like a computer and werewires, because, like, plugs from that come to life have become werewires, and, like, mice, and viruses, and pallets and swatches and stuff like that, and task manager and mouse wheel. It all makes sense. What the fuck is a Ribic? That's all I have to say about that. Man, listen, the song is really good, but it's also making me lose my train of thought. So I think I'm just gonna go back to the title screen now, because I think I'm running out of things that I wanted to say. I just about got everything I had to say out in the previous video. But, like, I guess last but not least, I don't remember if I mentioned this at all. One other thing, in the patch notes, during the Tenna boss fight, after you beat Tenna and the screen starts flashing between a bunch of different channels, there was, like, a really big sprite sheet that showed up. And I thought it made thematic sense for that to be there, because it was, like, Tenna's mental stability going off the rails, and, like, all the channels are glitching out, and it has, like, all these sprites from the chapter showing up, and even in the bottom right-hand corner, there was, like, Spampton shop sprites, and that makes sense because Tenna has connections to Spampton, but apparently that was not intentional and got patched out in this update, so that's not there anymore. But I do like that the minigames are in Chapter 3, and I do like the fact that the Tenna boss fight is, like, kind of like WarioWare, where you're going between dodging bullets and also playing the minigames, because it taught you how to play the minigames beforehand, and now you have to play micro-game versions of those games. I think the Tenna boss fight's great because of that. I forget if I mentioned that. And the other thing, still, I still think Chapter 3 has a lot of missed potential for what it could have been. It is still completely fine for what it is. It is a serviceable chapter. It is still my least favorite chapter out of all of them in the game, but I'm just so happy that the Roaring Night functions. I still think other things not showing up in the Dark World, like, literally, like, the How to Draw Dragons book was such massive foreshadowing that had zero payoff. Like, unless another Dark World gets opened in the Dreamer house at some other point in time, like, the plot goes haywire, and, like, Susie makes a fountain in the Dreamer house, or someone else makes a fountain in the Dreamer house. Like, what if Azrael comes back? A lot of people don't talk about Azrael as much. We all talk about December Holiday, but we don't talk about Azrael anymore and what Azrael plays in the story. What if somehow Azrael does something, or there's a dark fountain opened by Azrael in the Dreamer house, and we go back to like a fucked up TV world or something, because Tenna is not there, or some other Dark World opens up, and then that's how the How to Draw Dragon book comes into play. But, like, it could have been like just like a one-off joke in a room somewhere, and not like a whole Darkner, but, like, it just didn't show up at all. You could make the argument that it did not show up because it was a Darkener from a different Dark World. It came from the library, so that's why it did not belong in the Dreamer House, so it did not become a Darkener. You could make that argument. However, there's other stuff that happens in the chapter that, you know, there's still the TV remote that turns to stone, because it does belong in the TV world because it's a TV remote, but doesn't actually belong to Chris, so that's why it turns to stone. Lancer turns to stone late in the chapter if you go back and find them, but as far as we know, Rule's card doesn't, even though they're still playing cards and should still belong in the Dark World, so I really don't know why Lancer just turns to stone in the chapter. That one actually doesn't make much sense to me. But I think I've got, like, every single thought out of my head about Deltarune chapters 3 and 4 out of my head, especially chapter 3. So if you want to go see my original video, it's 3 hours long. That video is meant to be like a background noise kind of video. You can leave it on in the background. You don't even have to look at the screen. It's just me going back through my own footage. So if you've seen chapter 3 before, which you probably have, you don't need to look at the screen. You can just leave it on in the background, like put it on your phone, stick your phone in your pocket and listen to it while doing something else, or have it on a different tab. But still, I love Deltarune. I love Deltarune. I would not be making these videos about how I feel about the game if I did not love the game. So that, I think, is that. My original playthrough of Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4 was all streamed live at twitch.tv/Pokeball35, link in the description down below. If you are not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so, because I do have a lot to offer. I've been busy recently. I was making, you know, the whole big Chapter 3 video, so I haven't been getting my YouTube shorts out for Chapter 4 recently. But I have a lot of them done for at least Part 1 right now, so those are going up. As you can see, funny moments from that is YouTube shorts. I still need to edit the thumbnails of Parts 2, 3, and 4 of Chapter 4 to be the non-spoiler versions of the thumbnail. Because I had this as a non-spoiler thumbnail, so people wouldn't be spoiled. But now the game's been out for over a month and a half now, so like I can change them. I just haven't gotten around to it. But if you want to see my original playthrough, it's all on YouTube. Subscribe. You can go to my playlist of Undertale and Deltarune related videos. This video that you're watching right now is in that playlist, so just go to the playlist and you can watch my blind playthrough. As a disclaimer, I got really sick about a week before the chapters came out. Like, I woke up one day and I just, like, was super sick, and then I lost my voice. So I had to play through chapters 3 and 4 with not even really a sore throat. It's just that I lost my voice, so my voice acting isn't as great as I wish it was. But I still did it the best that I could. So if you don't mind that, you can go watch that. That is everything I have to say. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in whatever comes next.